this demonstration we're going to look at installing the client software by using a client push installation. So a configuration manager allows me to manage devices and users, but before I can manage a device we must install the config manager client. A number of different ways to do this. We could do it through a login script, we could include it as part of the base installation, we could do it through a group policy, we could actually even use configuration manager itself to push out the client. What we're going to do as part of this demo is we're going to do a push installation. I've come on to my config manager console, and in my config manager console I'm going to come to my administration workspace, and on my administration workspace we're just going to come to our site configuration. Within our site configurations I'm just going to come to my server and site system roles, and one of the things we're going to do is we're just going to configure some of the properties of the client push installation. So if I come into here, what we're going to do at this point here is I'm just going to come to my management point, and we're just going to modify some of the properties on my management point. One of the things we're going to do is generate an alert when the management point is not healthy, and what we're also going to do is just select the OK button. Then what we're going to do is just come to our sites, and in our sites what we're going to do is just come to our hierarchy settings. Now in our hierarchy settings, one of the things we're going to do is we will use a fallback site. So this is available in case of our primary site fails that the client is connected to. We can fall back and the client will still be able to report information back to config manager. So we'll select OK at this point here, and now what we'll do is we'll just put in some of the config manager settings that we require for pushing the client out. We're still within my sites node. I'm just going to come to my site, and within my site what we're going to do is we're just going to modify some of the settings. So we'll come to our settings tab, and then what we'll do is we'll come to our client installation settings. And what we're going to do is modify the client push installation. So within here what we can see on the general page is we could, for example, enable automatic site-wide client push installation. So this will install the client on any newly discovered computers. We can allow connection fallback to NTLAN manager. And down at the bottom here as well as we can specify whether to install the config manager client on domain controllers. So we're saying at this point here by default never install config manager client onto domain controllers. If we just look at the Accounts tab, so the purpose of the Accounts tab is to give us an account that will have permissions to install the client. And what we've done here is we've just added an account called Client Install. And then if we come to Installation Properties, this is where we can modify exactly what will happen and what will be available to the users when they go to the tabs within the config manager client. So we are just going to modify some of this. We've modified this to say that any client that we're going to push out will be inside S01. The fallback status point will be lon-cfg. We're going to disable site option equals true. So at this point here, users will not be able to modify their site. We're going to specify the cache directory, and we're going to specify it to the maximum size. Now we're happy with this, we'll just select OK. Now what we want to do is push out the client to a device called lon-cl1. So if we come back to Assets and Compliance, if we just come to our devices, what we can currently see is lon-cfg does have the client installed, whereas lon-cl1 does not. So we'll just highlight lon-cl1, we'll right click, and now we'll install the client. That brings me into Wizard, so at this point here we're going to select the Next button. On the installation options, so first tick box allows the client software to be installed on domain controllers. If you remember, I had this set to turned off by default. We can always install the client software, so when a computer already has the config manager client installed, we can repair, upgrade or reinstall. So I'm just going to turn the tick box on purely for purpose of this demo. We can also get it to uninstall the existing config manager client before the client is installed. Again, we can turn that tick on or turn that off. I don't have the client currently installed on lon-cl1, I'll leave that turned off. Then what I'll do is I'll install the client software from a specified site, and I'm going to install that from S01. Select our Next button, read through the summary quickly and select Next. As we can see now, saying we've completely installed the client. We haven't at this point, so if we just select Close, even though config manager says the client is installed, as we can see here, if I just do a refresh, we've still got client equals no. It does take a little while for the client to install, so let's just move over to our lon-cl1 machine. And on our lon-cl1 machine, let's just launch up Task Manager. Let's just go for more details, and what we're seeing here is we're seeing that CCM setup.exe is indeed running. So we can see the program is running. Now this does take a little while for this to install, but if I just come into my File Explorer and just go to my C drive, What we should see within the C drive, if we just come in the Windows folder, is I should see, if we look down here, we should see a CCM setup. When we come to CCM setup, as we can see, we've got some log files. We can see it's going through the process. Actually, CCM setup.exe calls this client.msi, and that is actually doing the install. So at this point here, like I said, it will take a few minutes. So all we'll do, close down everything apart from Task Manager. We'll pause the presentation and return back once the installation is complete. So as you can see, CCM setup.exe is now finished. So let's just come into File Explorer. And what I should see now, if I come to my C drive, if I just come to my Windows folder, I should see a CCM folder. And I've got my CCM folder. Let's just move across to the actual Config Manager server itself. So in devices now, what we can now see is we can now see lon-cl1 client equals yes, and that's the end of this demonstration. Thank you.